Speaker, I rise in support of this bill to get superannuation on paid parental leave. One of the reasons I entered politics was because I wanted to support the economic empowerment of women. It's something that, to be honest, I've grown up with. It's probably my mum's greatest legacy to me personally, is that if women don't fight for women, then it's not going to happen. And we need to fight for women because this is about getting women to make their great contribution to this country. And the economic empowerment of women is absolutely critical to that. And you are not going to get women with this economic empowerment if you don't actually have women in the room. And I think this is a lesson really from this parliament, because this parliament is a parliament with the first time to have over 40, I think it's around 45% women now in the room, compared with 36% in the last parliament and sort of around the 30% for the last 3 or 4 parliaments before this. Women are in the room, and this is making a huge difference to women's economic empowerment and to the bill that is here today in front of the House. So why is this bill important? Well, women retire with around 30% less super, and we know that one of the greatest risks to poverty in older age is that lack of super, lack of security, and some of the fastest growing people experiencing real economic distress, and including homelessness, is older women without significant resources and not enough super. So this is absolutely important because, frankly, when you're taking time off to have and look after your child, and we know that women still do the vast majority of that child rearing, particularly in those early days, it's absolutely critical that women are still contributing to their retirement as well, so they have those resources. But this, I want to briefly acknowledge the other changes that have happened in this parliament around women's economic empowerment, because they're absolutely critical. We have seen an increase into paid parental leave, which is important, and what is also particularly important about the increase in paid parental leave is that it also includes more use it or lose it for the second parent, which is typically a man in most families, so that we are going to have more men in taking part, I think, in raising the children. We are also seeing evidence of a closing wage gap between men and women. We have seen significant investments in childcare to make it more accessible to more people in the country. Now, childcare is still a real issue in my community, access and the affordability of childcare. But we have made strides in this parliament, and we've also seen. Now, the final piece, I think, has been super on paid parental leave. And these are all, I think, changes that I think certainly I welcome and I think are really powerful. Other ones are things like increased leave for domestic violence, but also raising the age under which single parents, again typically women, are supported when they are raising children on their own. These are all improvements for women in this parliament, and that is because women are finally in the room. However, I want to acknowledge that there is so much more to do in the relation to women's economic empowerment. And so, look, let's specifically talk to the bill, because the bill in itself will go some way to addressing women's economic empowerment. It means that superannuation contributions of 12% will be paid on top of payments already made to parents under the government's Paid Parental Leave scheme. And this will bring the government's Paid Parental scheme in line with most of the private sector schemes. Now, this is important. However, by Treasury's own admission, the impact of these superannuation contributions on paid parental leave is only going to marginally reduce the retirement income gender gap, because Treasury modelling actually predicts that the median female earner will receive a 0.17 increase in annual retirement income as a result of this scheme. So it makes a difference, but it doesn't close the gap that we know that is there, and while it is closing, is very still substantial. So then I'd like to come now to what will close the gap and where we need to continue to fight, and some of the areas that I will continue to fight now that this bill, it looks like it will go through the House and hopefully will get support in the Senate. I will continue to fight, particularly around the sharing the caring. Because when you look at the economic empowerment of women, why there is a continued gender gap, a significant part of this comes down to who does the caring. And it's absolutely typical that women do more of the caring in so many in so many situations. 88% of primary care leave continues to be utilised by women, with only 12% of primary carers' leave is taken up by men. This makes Australia unusual. Most other countries around the world do much better. Our compatriots in the OECD do much better in terms of better sharing the caring, and we need to change the culture in this country around this. And so this is where I think paid parental leave needs further evolution and, honestly, in my mind, revolution, because the Grattan Institute back in 21 modelled a 26-week paid parental scheme, which is similar to the length to the current ambition of paid parental leave, but with an even greater proportion of time allocated to both parents under a use it or lose it system. And the economic benefits, primarily from increased workforce participation, outweighed the costs 1.5 times. So, we know that if we continue to further tilt the balance so that caring is really shared, this does even better for women's economic empowerment. However, there are also significant impacts on both men and on children. For men and for male partners, if they take up more leave, there's evidence to suggest that they end up, have stronger mental health and a better bond with their children. Now, one of the issues that we as a country face is that men's suicide rates are 3 times the rate of female suicide rates. We know that men actually really suffer from mental health, and so, but some of the factors is actually those strong connections with family are some of the factors that can actually help improve men's mental health. That is why this would be good for men. But there's also evidence to show that this is also better for kids, and they're more likely to have strong and enduring relationships with both parents and also have a stronger sense of well-being by better sharing the caring. So this is and has to be, in my mind, where we need to continue to push as a parliament. We need to better share the caring, because this is about the economic empowerment of women, this is about mental health and connection of our men, and this is about raising our kids better. So to sum up, I would say that the introduction of superannuation on paid parental leave today is a necessary and very positive step to achieving true gender economic equity in this country. It is an important step. It's one that I'm proud to have fought for and I'm very proud to be speaking on. However, we need, as a parliament, to keep the pressure on, because the gaps are still there and there's much more that we, across this parliament, can do to make real changes. Thank you.